you so much for joining. Let's start now. I'm Dr. Abdulrahman Nassar. I'm a marine ecologist, environmental consultant for more than 15 years. I have a pretty good experience in marine environment. Also, I'm an independent researcher. So yeah, today we will talk about marine survey and the role of marine survey in environmental impact assessment study, which is I see like it's quite important for everyone like joining here. So let's start. First, let's explain what is EIA, maybe the Environmental Impact Assessment Study, because we might have some people out of the field or they're starting their professional life. So EIA, it's a systematic process we use to identify and predict and evaluate any potential impact on environment. And it's one of the very important, it's became one of the very important process for any project. And most of countries are starting to include this in their regulations and in their laws. So the point behind EIA, it's to minimize the negative impact that might happen from this project to make our life or the development more sustained. Today we're talking about a specific thing, which is marine survey. So we are talking about the projects that's on the coastal line or inside or offshore inside the sea. Okay. Such a project is like desalination plant, power plants, resort, tourism development, oil and gas platforms. All of these projects that might be happening or develop the coastal line or offshore area. So here, okay, here it's become like the important of marine survey in these projects. So basically, EIA, it's a step before starting the project. And in a coastal project, marine survey, it's very important and mandatory and required. So why it's mandatory and required? Because marine ecosystem is very sensitive, okay? It's not like other environment or other habitat. So marine ecosystem is very sensitive, and any damage happen, it will cost us a lot and a long time to fix it, okay? And most of the time we will not be able to fix. Baseline survey data for marine area, it's required and very important before starting the project to assess the impact of this project on marine environment. So here it come the rule of marine biologist in this the role of marine biologist in EIA or in marine survey. If the link of the webinar finish, please join the same link again. Okay. So the role of marine biologist here, the one who is responsible to do the marine survey, the one who has the knowledge, has the science, and they have the technique to do this. So that's very important to have marine biologists in our consultation or in our EIA firms or generally in a project, in a coastal project. So the marine biologist, he's responsible to design the marine survey and then collecting data, analysis this data, make analysis for this data, visualize this data, making maps for the habitat, for all the data he obtained or she obtained. from the sea, and then preparing and then assisting or predicting or evaluate any potential, and then making a report, and then make a recommendation either this project will have an impact or not, or we can have mitigations. Yeah, this project could be exist, but with some mitigation or something. So it's yeah, it's a very important role. So okay, do we have um, one type of marine survey or different type of marine survey? This is an important question. So the answer, we have different type of marine survey. It's based on the area of the project. So if we, for example, if we talk about Red Sea environment, it's different than the Mediterranean Sea environment. It's different than Arab Gulf environment. It's different than Mexico Gulf environment, of course. So based on the area, we can design our survey and we can estimate it as what we're gonna have, what we're gonna see underwater. But generally, we have a coral reef environment. This is one of the most sensitive habitats, some most sensitive environment. And what we measure, what we do during the survey for coral reef, that we assess the cover and diversity and the health of the situation of health of this coral reef. Also, we can identify abundance and indicator of species around, of species of coral reef in this area. And then we collecting all of these data as a baseline. Also, we can doing fish assessment survey if we have fish assessment survey in this area that we are talking about. What we normally doing in fish assessment survey, we estimate the species richness and abundance, and also we measure the size, biomass, and distribution, and we can identify critical habitat and spawning area if it's required in this area. The third type of marine survey, seagrasses survey for seagrass habitat. And in this survey, we just like identify the species, the composition, and the condition, and evaluate the nursery habitat around. And we can measure the cover, the distance, and the cover in the area of seagrasses in this area. And also water quality monitoring is important. There is some basic analysis, which is like we measure temperature, salinity, pH, dissolved oxygen, and turbidity. And there is other maybe required based on the area. For example, heavy metals is required if there is like oil and gas platform close by or something. So maybe we have extra analysis required. And the last one, benthic habitat mapping, which is we giving us like an information about how the seabed habitat looks like, how the substrate looks like, the type of substrate. So it's a very, very important, and we will talk more about this in next slides. Well, so we have different methods in marine survey. Okay, so we have first one, the most important one, transect and the quadrant method. And then we have visualized method, which we use to assess fishes mainly. And we can use also for different factor, impact, and measurement, different thing. And all of this should be done, 90% should be done by scuba diving, okay? Only 90% could be done by snorkeling only. So if you are a marine biologist and you don't know how to dive yet, please go get qualified to get in this. It will be a different world for you. If you are a student and you prepare yourself for a market, okay, go for scuba diving, learn scuba diving. It's mandatory to work in this field. And then we have GPS and GIS application. If you have instrument to record all of this during your trip, a survey trip, yes, please take it with you, take information, record all of this information is required. And last thing, we collect all of these data by underwater sheets, and then we store it after we go out of water on Excel sheet, and then we start the process of data analysis. Now I need to focus more on transect and quadrant analysis to give you more information about this because it's basic. It's a scientific method, and it's required in all surveys that we have. So basically, transect method, it's a line transect. It could be intercept transect, or it could be built transect. What's the difference between intercept transect and the built transect? So intercept transect, that's one that we have here. For example, it's a 50-meter long, and we have a point at each 10 meters, for example. So we have here, we saw under this 0, we saw coral. Under 10, we saw coral. Under 20, we saw sand, and so on. So we can get a percentage of these covers here. So we can say we have here a specific percentage of coral reef or seagrasses or whatever we saw under this transect. And it should be replicate, not one transect only, should be replicate to have accurate and solid data. Built transect is the same, but we give it a wide range. So we could have 1 meter above and 1 meter down. So the total of the area, it could be 100 square, okay? So we use it most common for counting fish and also for counting others factors or impactors on coral reef. Second method, it's quadrant method. Quadrant method, it's the same like we have a fixed regular shape square. It could be 25 centimeter by 25 centimeter, or it could be half meter by half meter, or 1 meter by 1 meter, which is most common. And we can divide it, the big square into small square in this photo here. And we can like take a point of count all of this point and give a percentage. We can take a photo underwater and we can use a software. It's called CBC to analyze and give us automatically the percentage of the data or the composition of the quadrant. And then after this, we store all of this data and making analysis and create our map for the transect. I want to show you quickly this video to show you how we can do transect. But please, if the link finished or out, because it's giving me a message, it will be okay. I'm asking you, can we make this question at the end, please? Okay, to finish.
Okay, no.
Yeah, please. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's continue, guys. I will play the video now.
Welcome to today's video where we will be discussing deploying a transect line for coral. This is our diver, Brad. He's going to show us how to deploy a transect line.
Is sounds working or not?
Our first step.
Do you hear the sound from the
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, amazing.
To identify a starting point. It's typically going to be some rocky outcropping, preferably devoid of coral, live or healthy coral. We want to secure our line to that by wrapping it around a couple times. After we have it secure, we want to find an even meter mark where we will start at. So we get to the 1 meter, we add a few extra wraps around our starting position to make sure everything is taut, and we have a place to start. Once our direction is chosen, we when you start swimming in that direction, just letting the transect line run itself out. This keeps the line taut. It also protects any sensitive coral life that we may encounter as we are going. You want to make sure your buoyancy is under control to swim smoothly and effortlessly. As we continue, as we get close to the full length of our transect line is going to run, we can determine that length, make sure that we have the entire measurement that we're wanting to collect, make sure the line's straight, it's not hung up on anything. Okay. In this case, it was 12 meters. Now we find a place to secure line 2. Again, needs to be some type of rock. We'll do a couple wraps to make sure everything stays. And then lay down the reel in a way so that it doesn't affect any of the aquatic life around it. Thanks, Brad. Now, for the actual sampling of the transect line, we start at one end. It can be either end. We give our measurement marking along the transect line, and we record all coral species that we see living within some predetermined distance of the transect line. Pointing out the different corals that he sees and is tallying them. If there is some question as to size or distance, you can make those determinations typically with your hand. The most common distance is 1 meter. Try that. Now, for finishing up the transect line, after it's done, go back, unravel at the end. You have the reel up, stay above the coral, and just use the tension in the reel to pull yourself back. Notice Brad is not putting any effort into swimming. He's just along for the ride and pulling himself back in. By elevating yourself, you're keeping the tape off of the coral, and you can go smoothly and slowly. You want to make sure that you keep the tape from getting tangled anywhere. Sometimes with currents, it can happen. And so you might have to fight it just a little bit, but again, you don't want to put too much effort. The more slack that develops in the line, the more likely you are to have curls and kinks. Once you get close, unwrap from the starting point, and then reel that last little bit in. Once it's all in, lock the tape mechanism so that it doesn't fall out, and secure it back to your BCD. So you're good to head back to the boat. Thanks for watching.
Amazing. As we saw in the video, that's actually the real was how we can do intercept line transect. And I should mention here, please don't do this survey unless you give yourself a proper training, a qualified training, how to make very good bouncy. Okay, so after you get certified as a scuba diver, at least advancing. Nofal, can you please close the mic, please? So you should get, after you get like minimum advanced scuba divers, you should dive a lot after to improve your bouncy, and then starting to make a survey, because if you don't get like a proper training for bouncy or improve your bouncy, you may impact negatively on the area that you are doing survey in at. You may break coral, make a lot of turbidity, a lot of this stuff. So please give yourself a time to get good qualified in scuba diving and improve your bouncing. So here we have the survey workflow. I collected everything here. So what we do, we plan the survey in the office before we go, and we collected the field data according to the method that we explained before, and then analyze this data, store data, analyze, and then map and visualize, and then doing a report and recommendation. This is a workflow of this marine survey. And here we have an example for a project. Of course, like I changed some of the data of the project. I'm just like giving you an idea how we can do survey for such a project. This project is a power plant project on the Red Sea. So power plant, it's using water to provide a cooling system, and then outfall the water from cooling system with higher temperature. So here, this project will impact or will match on the coastal area on Red Sea by intake and outfall. So intake and outfall. So here, before they start or doing any construction for this project, we should do environmental impact assessment, which should include marine survey. So we did a marine survey and we found there is an area including coral reef habitat, and the fish community there associated to coral reef. It was a big. And then we found another area, it's including seagrasses. We also did water quality to have a baseline of the water quality also. And then we did a benthic habitat. And then we did our recommendation to change the design for intake and outfall, because we found it's crossing or going through a sensitive habitat. So that's why it's very important to have EIA study and including marine survey for coastal projects. And here, all the processes we did, so we received the scoping from the main constructor, and we reviewed all of these papers, and we got the map and drawing and everything to prepare for our and design our marine survey. And then we start to collect the data for baseline about coral reef. As we said, we got the data about coral cover percentage and diversity and how the condition of the coral reef, and then the fish richness, abundance, commercial species, and herbivorous species also. Seagrasses survey, we measured the coverage and density and the species composition. Also, water quality, we measured temperature, salinity, dissolved oxygen, turbidity, nutrients, and others parameters. And then we had we collected data for habitat mapping, and then we process or analyze this data, and we made mapping for the data. And then also we had to create doing modeling for discharge to see how much temperature will impact on the area. And then we did our recommendation and mitigation about this. So we did a recommendation about buffer zone, and we changed the area of discharge. And this was really good project because the main contractor and the owner, they respect environment so much, so they followed all the process. And this project now in operation with a minimum impact on environment. And this is the importance of your role as a marine biologist. Okay, now some of you maybe they still study, some of you they started the field, and you need some recommendation from where you can start. First, if you are a student, please finish your degree yeah, take as much as the knowledge that you can take from the university book or from your study. And during your study, please learn diving. Learn diving. If you cannot swim, please learn to swim, how to swim first, doing snorkeling and learn diving. because this is one of the important and mandatory skills that you should have to do a marine survey. And after this, you can start, of course, like all the time, read papers, read books, read everything about your field, and then join any volunteering, any internship around you to give you a field work experience. This is very important. And also we have this webinar is sponsored by Reefera. I will talk about this later. They offer some volunteering work so you can learn some with them. And then you can create a profile on LinkedIn to connect with others, with business owner, with other in your field, and also you can learn from your LinkedIn. But please be reasonable about yourself. Please be honest about your qualification. Don't be expert when you just graduated, okay? Please be reasonable. And just like you will be consultant, you will be expert in your field, but not now. Just to start step by step. So I need your profile to reflect your true qualifications, okay? That's very important for any business owner to hire the right person and save yourself a lot of hassles to working with the different like unqualified companies, or you are unqualified for high qualified company. So yeah, a lot of things we can talk about this about your career, but for now this is the main things. And I will be happy to stay in touch with you. This is my WhatsApp, so you can scan QR code anytime, just can connect to me. If you are working in a company and you need a help with any of these services, we're doing marine survey, EIA and ESIA, modeling, GIS, biodiversity study, mapping, environmental plans, and we giving training, and also we giving reef check training. We give scuba diving training for marine biologists. This is something special we do. Myself, I'm a scuba instructor too, and I'm giving like a marine biologist from time to time, like a specialty of marine survey, and make them qualified for the market. And this is very important. I will be happy to stay in touch anytime. Just text me. This is my WhatsApp. This is my LinkedIn. And finally, this webinar sponsored by Reefera. Reefera is a new initiative, non-profit initiative in Egyptian side of Red Sea. It's mainly taking care of coral reef conservation and the local community around. They offer from time to time volunteer volunteer work and internship to make a new survey team who can help Reefera in survey check or reef check or whatever the objective they have of the project they have. So please, you can join the WhatsApp group for Reefera. It's here, or you can scan for volunteering form. If the volunteering form is not working, I will drop the link in the chat now, so you can have an access. I'm done with my side. I hope it was helpful for you. Last thing, if anyone here wants a certificate, digital certificate, please send me just an email with your name and your position, and I will be happy to make a certificate for you to help you in your career, inshallah. One more thing, if you need I think, yeah, we will need. It was like so quick webinar. I think like marine surveys need like much time. So if you feel like you need much time, we can prepare a full course, 5 sessions or 4 sessions to explain more in details about marine survey. So just please on LinkedIn, just show me like if you are interested in this, so we can prepare a full course for marine survey. That's it from my side. Thank you so much. I would be happy to receive your question. Please drop your question in the box, in the chat box, so I can read and I can answer it, or open your mic and you can just to say your question. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, I want to know whether the quadrant and transit, which one is the most reliable?
Can you please repeat the question again and raise your voice, because your voice is away, like, yeah, please repeat it again, make it louder.
In a survey, sir, we are using quadrant and transit. So mostly, which one is the best option?
You mean transect or quadrant? I do
Yes, sir.
recommend to do both. Okay, that's how you can have a solid data. Okay, so normally what we do, if you want to accurate data, just make line transect and make quadrant over some point on line transect. Okay.
Okay. And what about the water quality sample and sediment sample? Is there any specific for how much distance from one sample to the another?
For water quality, it's different, depend on the side of the project, okay? So that's why that's your rule to design the survey before you go, okay? So it's depend on the size of the project, depend on the nature of the project, depend on the area of where is the project, if it's on Red Sea, on Mediterranean, as we mentioned in the beginning, okay? So you should give me like a real project so we can say, okay, we will have 5 samples or we can have 2. So mainly it's about the size of project and then the nature of
Oh,
project and then the area of the project. Okay.
okay, sir, got it.
Thank you. I'm trying to catch. Oh my gosh, we have so much questions. That's really good. Okay. So let's start. Can you please explain the method of system of eDNA? Okay, eDNA is not cheap, it's not easy method, okay? So I assume that you are talking about eDNA from coral. So there is like an official technical sample to collect a sample for DNA species coral, and then we can make a PCR for this sample, and we can have this DNA, and we can match between all DNA, or it's depend on what is required in your project. But it's mainly for research projects, okay? So not EIA. No one asking for EIA, unless it's like a so fancy project in this area, or the area is very sensitive and contain very few coral. So maybe the government or the regulation asking you to do this. So it's not a cheap method. It's not an easy method. Okay. Thank you. Suggesting any course to respect to marine. Actually, like that's why I'm doing this, Mirza. That's why I'm doing this webinar, because there is not so much resources to explain marine survey, but I will do one, inshallah. So just follow LinkedIn and you can join once we done announce on one, inshallah. But it's very important to be scuba diver, okay? Learn scuba diving in the place you are. And any if you guys, if you are in a Red Sea, Egyptian side, or in you are in Saudi Arabia and you or Emirate or in the Middle East, and you wanted to learn diving, I can help with this. So no problem, just contact me. So
So,
different between Okay, so what's the difference between the marine EIA and non-EIA marine is the fact that it is in the water. I didn't get your question, but I can like tell you the difference. Marine EIA survey, our object is to assist and predict the impact, the environmental impact of this project specific. Okay. Maybe we have a research project. That's a different thing. We're doing a marine survey to collect the data for research point to search about the relation between specific species of fish and study the relation between this species and some of coral species or whatever. So it's different than EIE survey, marine survey for EIE. So it's totally different. What?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, sir, is there any, will you suggest any good book or for the marine surveys,
Well,
like doing?
yeah.
Yes.
All of these methods that I explained here, I mentioned here, it's based on a book, a scientific paper. It's called English ETAL 1998. If you Google it, you will get this book.
English.
Yeah, it is a scientific method for marine survey. You can find this in this book. This is the only thing. Other thing, it's a field practice. You know, you should get training in the field. Okay, and also, I forgot this. Also, you should get request to start a compensation. What is it? Also, you should be you get some knowledge how about different fishes, different families of fishes in the area that you are doing survey, and you should have a reference, a book reference for this, for coral reef, for fishes, and all of this, because you will count, you will identify all of these species underwater if you so. So it's based on the place that you are doing the study. You should looking for which is the best reference in this area, and you should have these references with you to get an accurate data with names of families or species or whatever you're doing. Okay, so this is very important. Let's continue the question from the chat box. We're doing the baseline for our EIA survey, usually including plankton and fauna also. Is it necessary always to any reason for exclude this? Actually, like it's not mandatory in all EIA, okay? It's mandatory in specific projects only, and they should refer to this. So it's not mandatory at all. But the mandatory thing, if we have a sensitive habitat like coral reef and seagrasses and fishes, we should doing as we mentioned. So we talking about general plankton and fauna might be including in different survey, not in all survey. So it's not mandatory. It's based on the project. Do you recommend some GIS online course? Actually, I was doing a GIS online course. So for EIA. Please check my profile. You'll find some webinar recorded for webinar. We had a nice webinar about this. So please check my profile on LinkedIn. And also there is a lot of resources on YouTube. You can find anything. I wanted to ask three things. Oh, wow, three things. Okay, go. Should the area of the survey be as per the boundary of the project, or should be expanded depending on the required of the project? How do we survey about the fish community and or something as well? Do you continue the survey on intervals? So, okay, let me answer first one. First one, you are asking about when you do a survey, you're doing for the project area itself or bigger than the project area. So I will answer you from the example. If you remember the example that I mentioned here, so we have intake and outfall. So yeah, this intake and outfall, it should be included in my survey area. So it should be all wider around. And be careful because we should do marine survey for bigger area than in drawing, just to have an idea about what is outside. Maybe in such a project we need to suggest a changing some of points, some of construction areas, some of area that might be impacted on this area. So it's better to have a wider survey area. But when you represent or you include your report, it should be the area that you got in your design, okay? But for you as a marine biologist to have a wide view about the area, please do wider survey if you can. Survey about fish and about how we can collect sample water. It's need more time to talk about this. So that's why let's think about prepare a full course about this, inshallah. Do we continue survey in equal interval of time, or what do you mean equal interval of time? No, we have a fixed, like the coral reef will not move, okay? But for fish, they will move. That's why we should, for fish, we should have a built transit, not intercepted transit, okay? So we move in an area with a built transit, so the fish moving inside, but we can count them easily since we have a built transit. What is
Sir, I wanted to, about the third question that you answered, I just wanted to confirm that by equal interval, I mean, before we are starting the project, if we complete the EIA assessment, and supposedly once the project is starting, after the project, do we check multiple times or in equal intervals what is the changes or what are the probable changes in the water or in the environment because of that project, which may be affecting the coral reefs or the fish communities or the other possibilities that you said. So that is what I meant. Should we start the survey just before the project starts, or should we do that considering that it is a marine environment? Should we continue it maybe once a year or twice a year or once in, say, 6 months?
Listen. In EIA or in a project, we have different phases of the project. So we have pre-constructions. That's the stage that they should get a permit of constructions before they start. This is my time, okay, to have a baseline before they start. And then they start construction. So I do monitoring during this construction to measure the impact of the change between the baseline and what is happening on a real project. After the construction phase finished, there is an operation phase, okay? Or pre-operation and operation phase. This is a different stage. And also I do monitoring and inspections to make sure there is no big change from the baseline that I got. This is a normal process. Some countries, they have project exist and they need to assist. But in this case, we don't have baseline, okay? We can back to references, all the references or scientific paper about this area, if it's available, and we can, from this, we can get the measure the change happening, and we can evaluate the project as a new project from the beginning, okay? So this is how it's happening for EIE. I hope I answered your question very well.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Nassar. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Let's continue quickly because we don't have much time. So what is the basic method, like if I want to monitoring or monitor a small area for evaluation of temperature on coral reef, how do I do this? So you need to evaluate the increasing of temperature on coral reef. In field, I don't recommend you to do this unless you have a time. So if you have like a long period of time, and it's depend on the place that you are doing this research. So if you have, like for example, in Red Sea, they have 4 seasons, okay, per year. They have summer, they have winter, they have spring, they have autumn. So there is a variety of temperatures. There is different temperature during this season. So we can measure and fill and see the condition of coral reef. So it's easy to measure, okay, in each season, measure temperature, different time, different days per season, different months, and check the coral reef, okay? Check the health of coral reef. Check if there any bleaching or not. Check the situation of coral reef. Check if there are new colonies or not. A lot of parameters you can measure. And you can back to my paper that I published in 2021, I think. It's called Coral Reef Resilience in Wadi Al Gimal National Park. Coral Reef Resilience Drivers in Wadi Al Gimal National Park. And check the methods that I used and contact me if you need more information about this. I hope I answered your question. What emerging technology for eDNA drones? Yeah. That's a new technology. Not every company they have, not every country they have, and it's still not covered by all the world. So that's why now we learning the basic here. We learning how we do by ourselves. But of course, like technology everywhere and develop day by day. So and if you are asking about accuracy, it's still not so much accuracy as we do by ourselves, okay? Certificate will be provided for the webinar. Yes, please send me an email by full name and the title that you want to mention in webinar. Are you volunteer? Are there mentioned in the Egypt or in the other countries? Well, Reefera, I think like is still in Egypt, but please follow my LinkedIn. Maybe I will share some other opportunities in other countries. I hope you can find one suitable for you. Volunteering opportunity in India. I don't have so much connection in India. I'm really sorry. All my Indian friends here in the Middle East. So I'm really sorry about this, but I can ask them like if they have an opportunity to publish. How do you compare the survey result with? What do you mean survey result with the baseline data? I mentioned here that we're doing survey to collect a baseline data. So if you have a baseline data already, you're doing a survey and just compare it with it. Yeah, I mean like the baseline data saying there is a 20% cover of coral here in this area, and you did another survey and you found it's 10% cover. So that means there is a degradation. There is a negative impact by 10% on or 50% from the cover of the coral that's in the baseline. Where I can find opportunity for marine conservation research in Red Sea, Jordan. Oh, Jordan, I think you have now UN project in Aqaba. I saw some of my friends shared some posts about this. So please check. There is a UN project for biodiversity in Aqaba on Jordan side. So yeah, check it, and I think you can text them, and they need some internship and volunteer. I know this. Okay, just contact them. There any standardized method? I answered this. Respective certificate, yes, will be certificate, inshallah. It will help you in your career, I hope. In Tanzania, I did diving in Tanzania. It was amazing. In Tanzania, we had opportunity for marine conservation and research under your own marine. Welcome. Oh, please, I would love to come. Baulu, please contact me. I would love to come again to Tanzania, please. I attended a conference about coral reef resilience in Zanzibar, and it was really useful and amazing with amazing people there. Please contact me, and Yeah, send me your contact, please. I would love to come anytime there. Okay. I will share the record of the presentation on my LinkedIn. In EI as conducted by third party environmental consulting if we are and do not interested in timing. Course for marine survey. I didn't get this big question, Mirza. Sorry, what do you mean exactly? You can open the mic and just tell me how we can get a certificate. Please contact me on my email. You will be happy to send you your certificate. Or in LinkedIn message, no problem, okay? Nia, you're reporting. There is one section of for environmental monitoring. This monitoring is required based on the criteria of the providing is there basically that's we need to discuss more this point. It need more details, okay? So you can contact me or you can have a call about this, okay? Raihana, I think. Please contact me. You can have call to explain more about this, okay? Please close your mic if you don't speak, please. To install the tidal wave. This is required for modeling. This engineer Farah, this is required for modeling and some for marine survey, not majority for marine survey only. What is your emails, please? Okay, I will write down my email here. Please, please, close your mic, please. Okay. This is my email. I'm not